Hey everybody, welcome to Crafting in My PJs. It's Millie here, and if you happen to see a video I put out last week, it was on my very first Little Golden Book junk journal that I made. I have made a grand total of 3 journals, but this is the only one I've come close to finishing. I am a brand new newbie junk journal maker, and I've lately fallen in love with the Little Golden Book ones, and I also am very much into wanting my books to be interactive. So I want kids to be able to play with them too, with maybe some supervision, and so they have like things to do inside the book. So like for this bunny book, there's a bunny paper doll, and then there's different outfits for him to wear that kind of go along with the book, in addition to tags and mini books and notebooks and things that I've made to go in it. But that's not what this video is about. This video is to tell you, or to share with you, the mistakes I've made and some things that I found that I really like. So I'm going to show you, as a junk journal newbie, what I might do the same or different in the future. So if you're into junk journaling, or if you're looking to get into junk journaling, and Little Golden Book is someplace that you are going to look at journaling, at using for your junk journals, you are probably aware that most of them come with a gold spine. I mean, that's their iconic look. Christmas ones will come with a red spine, and I even have one here that has a silver spine. I'm not sure if it was gold and it's faded out. I can't tell really. So they come with the iconic gold spine. My choice was to make this book with the gold spine attached. So here's another one that I've taken apart for demonstration purposes to show you here. Well, it's probably one of the next ones I'm going to be working on. So it's for somebody special. So here's the gold spine. I like to keep the gold spine. Some people, and you notice there's a hinge right there. So when people take the books apart, they will do one of 2 or 3 things. They will either keep it just like it is and make their journal similar to what I did here, or they will cut this hinge completely off, which is going to change the size of your book dramatically, but they will cut this hinge completely off. Or they will keep the hinge on. They will probably reinforce it back here with another piece of cardboard. And they might cover it with material, which would keep it the same width pretty much as the pages here. But they cover this up, I guess, in protection, and maybe when you go to take this spine apart, it doesn't really, sometimes they just don't come out as well as other times. In this particular one, I think I have a rip and all, but I think it's all repairable, so I think that we're going to be fine. So my choice has been to keep the gold spine. That's what I'm aiming for. If it doesn't happen, no big deal. I can redo and I can make do with what I have. So in this junk journal, what I did with my spine is I followed, I must have watched 150 videos, I swear. And I followed somebody who made their cardboard spine here and the pieces that go over the hinge, and it's all in one piece. And it literally looks like a U. So there's, let's see if I can cut this down quickly, just to kind of give you a visual. So if this was cut correctly, like the right sizes and everything, this would be the part that you're attaching the pages to, and these would be the support pieces that are inside the book. And she did not cut them apart. She left them here, and that's what I did. Now the only thing, my only criticism with that is I found it to be very tight. Like I used pretty significant cardboard. It wasn't thin cardboard like this. And I found it hard to bend. I had to work them. I had to, you know, kind of break those fibers. So I think for my next one, I am going to try to cut the pieces in 3. So you have your spine, which would be right there in the middle. Then you have the piece that's going to cover and support one hinge, one cover, and then another piece that will support and cover the back hinge, like that. Leaving just a fraction of a space in between gives you more flexibility. And then I like covering everything with fabric, but you have to make sure everything is really glued down. And I do use and I don't have any to use right now to show you, but like Tyvek tape. And then I saw somebody else used sports tape because it had fabric in it. The only thing I have left in my stash right now is clear duct tape, and that's not acid free. So whatever you do use as a support, you would definitely want it to be acid free. So let's just pretend I have glued all of this down, right? And so it's all glued down. My seam is going to be down here because in here my seam is kind of in the middle, and I wasn't really happy with that, but I don't think that really matters. And so, and then I'm going to be able to fold like that. And then I am going to glue, let's see if I can do it this way without letting go since nothing. I'm going to glue one cover back on here like that. And I am going to glue the front cover on here like that. And then I will have my covered spine. Some people just glue all the pieces and then cut their material to fit here. I kind of liked having my material over that. The other thing is when I glue, I'm going to make sure I am a hair under this spine right here, not completely flush with it. I want to be just a hair. And I probably, like on this one, I used some very thin gold ribbon I happen to have, and that filled in that gap there. But I found it really difficult to get, like I had to glue it like 2 or 3 times to make sure that that glue really held. You need some sort of clamps and all, but your clamps are only going to fit on the ends. So unless you have long clamps, you're not getting the middle. So I think I'm going to do a hair lower just so that I feel like I'm going to get a better seal that way. So that's what I'm going to try the next time. And then you will see, you know, this seam right here, you usually put a piece of ribbon or rickrack or something to kind of hide that. So here's my other thing that I learned as I was doing this. Also, if you're going to put a tag holder or a tassel holder, tassel holder. I did not have any, and I did want that, so I put it in, and you can see the little pieces right here in between the signatures. I will go back and cover that with something just to make it a little bit more secure, I think. But I will probably take a piece of that polka dot material and cover it. So you would want to put that tag on. Well, if you put the tag on, it's still going to be kind of be exposed, but you can cover it better if you don't have your signatures already sewn in. So now the way I decided I wanted to do this was I only wanted 2 signatures, just 2, because I wanted the stories, mostly the stories, like I guess 90% of them are just 2 signatures. So I only wanted a signature for each story part. Some people put 3 or 4 signatures, and so they'll have 1 or 2 extra signatures that are just nothing but tuck spots. That was, I was really focusing on the book, and that's all personal choice. So that's something to think about when you're doing this. I also found that an 1.5 inch spine was a really good size for 2 signatures. I've kind of been measuring 3/4 inch per spine. Now I know mine sticks up a lot, but remember I did put paper dolls in here, and I put magnets on the back of the paper doll clothing, and that's what's giving it more bulk than what is really necessary. I also made a template, and this is a really good idea too. So say this is this is an inch. So this must have been for something else. No, I just centered it in there. Okay. So here was my template with my holes cut out. And I was able to mark everything so that my stitching was fairly even. I've also seen people putting buttons on here, which I thought was great. And I literally wanted to put Mardi Gras beads on here. So last year, I live in the New Orleans area. And last year, the kids caught glass Mardi Gras beads, which we haven't seen in a really long time. So somebody must be now, because if you're out in the crowd and they throw those glass beads at you and you get hit in the head with them, they kind of hurt. So, but I did notice that at Maddie's school parade, somebody had glass beads, and I scooped up as many as I could get. And I was going to put them on here, but it is my first journal, and I just really wasn't sure how things were going to go, and so I did not broach that yet. The other thing I would suggest is, these books are fairly easy to find, but and for pretty cheap. Like I've been paying about 50 cents a book. Do not, whatever you, if not less than 50 cents a book, whatever you do, don't use your best book as your first Little Golden Book junk journal. I took the bunny book, which at the time that I got this didn't really have any specific meaning for me. And this was my test book. So now I can tell you, one of my granddaughters checked it out for me yesterday, gave it 2 thumbs up. And she might end up getting this for a holiday or something, because I know she really liked it. And I know it kind of passed her test she's 5, as far as turning the pages and things stayed together. That same granddaughter, this is actually for her. She's in dancing this year. It's her 2nd year. And so I feel by May, when they have or June, when they have their dance review, I'll have it finished. And again, it'll have paper dolls, just because Ellie and I really enjoy the paper dolls. So that's specific for her. Okay, so start with a test book, one that doesn't have sentimental meaning for you, and get your feel of things, so you'll know, okay, next time I'm going to do this with my spine. I'm going to have hinges, a different hinge. So the other thing is, once you have to put pages in your signatures. So I wanted to keep all of these in order. So I just took 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. Some people go very vintage, and they have vintage paper in there, and vintage ledgers, and vintage book pages, like out of other books. I didn't really want all of that. That wasn't my style. And this is very much by your style. I did use some handmade coffee dyed paper and food colored paper, and coffee dyed and food colored doilies that I did put in there as different embellishments, but it wasn't my main pages. So I just went through my scrapbook paper and I picked out, so I wanted one on top and one in between. So 1, 2, 3, and then your center one, 4. So for every signature, I added 4 12 by 12 cardstock. It was a little short in width, and I had to cut down the bottom. Some I cut, some I folded up to make pockets. So let's see if I can find one quickly. I know the center. This is one that's folded up to make a pocket. Then I went back and I sewed on my sewing machine some seams and some different things. So all of that was done before I sewed it in the book. Now, that was really great, except that you have to realize, and I did not realize this because, I don't think ahead well. When you sew on one side of the page, then those seams are going to show on the other side. Now, not a big deal. This one I kind of covered up with a pocket. But you can take like a pocket like this. This was not sewn into the book. I just took this, made this pocket, and then sewed it on the sewing machine and then glued it on. So you can do some embellishments like that that are sewn in later. I ended up making one page a full-length pocket, like a whole page pocket, and that covered some stuff up. And the other thing is, if your scrapbook paper is not double-sided, you're going to have white sides. And that's fine too, because I did some, like this one I didn't do anything. Well, it's blue, but this one's white, and I did some spray, and I did some stamping. So your other side is going to show. Here's another one. I didn't do anything to the background, but I did put on. So that's another thing to think about, is that putting in your pages, the backs are going to show. Sometimes scrapbook paper has like the price or the manufacturer at the bottom. And when you save all of those little scraps, then that becomes your tuck spots, and that becomes your belly bands, and that becomes your corner pockets. And then everything kind of coordinates because you're using the same materials. You haven't changed materials. I also did not sew my laces on because I realized that the stitching was showing. I didn't necessarily want stitching showing on every page I had lace on, so I glued my lace on. You could literally run your lace down the sewing machine and put a line of stitch and then glue it on. So like faux stitching, you could do that. You don't have to have stitching at all. I bought the sewing machine, the cheapest one I could find, just for crafting. So here was another blank page, and I just put the stencils on. So for my next one, I'm going to be thinking about all of these ideas, how I'm folding up, what I'm folding up, what's going to show where. And like on this one, I knew I was going to do the paper doll, but I didn't have the paper dolls yet. And so then when I got to some pages, I didn't have like proper pockets for the clothing, and I had to go back and make them. And that's okay. It's all part of it. Oh, here's where I made a page. Like I just covered the back of this, which was, I think, white. Yes, it was white. So I covered the back with another piece that I stitched after the fact. So if you don't get your stitching done before you sew your signatures in, it's all right. You can come back and do it. But it is something to think about while you're getting everything ready. I saw one of the YouTube videos. She happened to use envelopes as her center in her signatures. I kind of like that. But is it necessary completely? No, you can make a nice little 2-page spread with that. So I guess that's it. I added tags on the top. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I learned that you could think about before you actually put your books together and would be beneficial to you. Oh, I do have one more thing. In watching many of the creators on YouTube, two in particular, Shabby Dabby Doodah, Pam, no, that's Tina at Shabby Dabby Doodah, and Pam at the Paper Outpost. Both of them run series of YouTube videos where they make things in bulk. So they're making tags or pockets or whatever, bands or decorated paper clips or decorated buttons, and they make all of that in bulk, put them away somewhere so that when you do make a book, you have those things to choose from. And so you're not making every single thing at the time you're putting together a book. So I did say in my first video when I showed this that I do enjoy digital downloads. And so but I limit myself. You can only buy one per book. So this one was a bunny book, and I did buy this cute little bunny digital background. So those tags and pockets I made with the digitals. But then other things I had already. I'm trying to find those tags specifically. That was one I made on this book, for this book. Of course I'm not going to find it when I want it. Oh, here they are. Okay, so like this is one of the tags. It didn't have this bottom part. It was just a book tag made with book pages on a manila folder, cut up and then stitched. So I had that ready to go. I added this little pocket and then put in this little bunny tag to decorate it, but it made decorating so much quicker. Same thing here. Added the bunny pocket, added this little tag right here, and it was done. Ta-da! And I already had it, so I didn't have to spend time creating or looking for and making. So I do have a box of things I have not made in bulk like most people have, or those people have, but I am starting because I am brand new at this. So I am starting. So that's it. The other thing I can tell you is when you make in bulk, or I can share with you, is think about when you're making in bulk or when you're going through all your supplies. I have a tendency to save things inside of boxes. So like this is the Alice in Wonderland one that I'm working on. And I've been picking up things like at the dollar store. And when I pick up things and I find things that look like it would fit for Alice, I stick it in this box with Alice's stuff. And I did purchase secondhand this Alice in Wonderland, and I will use those pages to make her tags. And I did the same thing for another. This is the original paper doll one that I started, and look, she's in a bag because I brought her I brought it to meet Ellie, and to see what Ellie thought about it. And so as I find things, they go in the bag. I was going through my stash and somebody made me a card, like at a swap. And see, it opens like that. But if I take this off the back of the card, I can use it. I might use it on the cover. I don't know. But I thought she fit with paper dolls and the clothing. And then any paper or anything, smaller paper, that kind of goes with this theme. And I stash it away, and then that way when I'm ready to work on it, I have some things already sorted out for that. All right, I guess that's it for today. So that was what I learned in a nutshell, kind of, sort of. And I'm sure every time I do a book, I'm going to learn even more and share with you even more. But for right now, that's what I have learned in making my very first bunny book, junk journal. That's a little golden book. All right, thanks guys. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. All right, see you later.